The hidden architecture of calmness, what psychology reveals about unshakable people. There's a moment that happens in every crisis. A split second where time seems to expand. Most people never notice it because they're already reacting, their body flooded with cortisol, their mind racing toward the worst possible outcome. But some people live inside that moment. They're the ones who move slower when everyone else speeds up, who speak softer when voices rise, who find the eye of the hurricane and make it their home. You know someone like this. Maybe you've watched them handle catastrophe with the same energy most people bring to making breakfast, and you've probably wondered, are they built differently? Do they not feel what we feel? The truth is far more interesting. The paradox of feeling everything. Here's what neuroscience has discovered. The calmest people aren't feeling less, they're processing more. Functional MRI studies show something fascinating. When a calm person encounters stress, their brain doesn't shut down emotional centers. Instead, their prefrontal cortex, the conductor of the mental orchestra, fires up faster and stronger than average. They're not ignoring the alarm. They're hearing it, understanding it, and consciously choosing not to evacuate the building. This is the first misconception about calmness. That it's the absence of feeling. In reality, it's the presence of something else, a kind of emotional metabolism that converts raw sensation into usable energy instead of letting it burn the house down. Think of it this way. Most people experience emotion like a smoke detector going off. Their first instinct is to react to the sound, but calm people have trained themselves to ask a different question. Where's the fire? And 9 times out of 10, there isn't one. The cost they've already paid. But here's what makes this truly profound. Calmness isn't a gift, it's a receipt. The quietest people you know have already paid admission to chaos. They've been the ones who overthought until 3 a.m., who tried to control what couldn't be controlled, who learned, through brutal repetition, that anxiety is just fear doing push-ups. It gets stronger the more you engage with it. There's actually a psychological term for this: stress inoculation. Small doses of manageable stress over time build resilience. But the key word is manageable. Too much breaks you, too little leaves you fragile. Calm people have found the Goldilocks zone not by design but by survival. They're the ones who cried in the shower so they could smile at breakfast, who screamed into pillows so they could speak gently in conversation, who fought invisible wars so the people around them could feel peace. Their calmness isn't natural. It's scar tissue that's learned to bend instead of break. And that changes everything. The architecture of stillness. Let's go deeper into the mechanics. When you study people with exceptional emotional regulation, you notice patterns, not in what they do, but in how they structure their inner world. First, they've built a time buffer. Between stimulus and response, there's a gap. Viktor Frankl wrote about this, that in that space lies our freedom. But calm people don't just know this intellectually. They've excavated that space, made it bigger, turned a crack into a canyon. Neurologically, this is the anterior cingulate cortex, doing its job inhibiting automatic responses. But calm people have strengthened this neural pathway through thousands of tiny decisions. Every time they wanted to snap back but didn't. Every time they felt the impulse to defend themselves but chose curiosity instead, they've turned that pause into muscle memory. Second, they've redefined what deserves energy. Most people distribute their emotional energy like throwing seeds in the wind, a little here, a little there, hoping something grows. But calm people are precision farmers. They know that energy is finite, that attention is sacred, and that not everything that demands a response deserves one. This isn't apathy, it's discernment. They've learned to ask, will this matter in 5 years? 5 months? 5 days? And if the answer is no, they don't let it matter in 5 minutes. Third, they've made friends with uncertainty. This might be the most important one. Research in cognitive psychology shows that intolerance of uncertainty is the foundation of most anxiety disorders. The need to know, the need to control, the need for guaranteed outcomes. Calm people have somehow made peace with the fundamental truth that most of life is improvisation. They've stopped demanding that the universe show them the script before the scene begins. They've learned to trust their ability to handle what comes, rather than trying to prevent what might. The loneliness no one sees, But there's a shadow side to calmness that rarely gets discussed. Being the calm one often means being the lonely one, because while everyone else is bonding over shared panic, shared outrage, shared drama, the calm person is somewhere else. Not because they think they're better, but because they can't afford to return to the chaos they worked so hard to leave behind. There's a particular isolation that comes from being the most stable person in the room. People lean on you, but rarely ask if you need somewhere to lean. They confide in you, but assume you don't need to confide in anyone. And sometimes, in quiet moments, the calm person wonders, would anyone notice if I stopped being the strong one? This is the hidden cost. Calmness can become a cage, a role you're expected to play even when you're crumbling inside. The truly calm person knows this. They've learned to let themselves fall apart in private, to give their nervous system the release it needs without making it everyone else's emergency. They understand that being calm for others doesn't mean being calm always. The different types of calm, not all calmness is created equal. And this matters. There's suppressive calmness, where someone has learned that showing emotion is dangerous. This isn't peace. This is freeze response dressed in stillness. It looks calm from the outside, but internally, it's a pressure cooker. Then there's dissociative calmness, where someone has disconnected from feeling altogether. They're calm because they're not fully present. This is survival, not mastery. But there's a third type, integrated calmness. This is where someone can feel the full spectrum of human emotion and still maintain their center. They're not calm because they've shut down. They're calm because they've opened up to uncertainty, to pain, to joy, to everything, and discovered that they're bigger than any single emotion. This is the calmness worth studying. The calmness worth becoming. What calm people see that you don't hear is where it gets fascinating. Calm people don't just feel differently. They perceive differently. There's a concept in psychology called attentional breadth. Under stress, most people's attention narrows. They develop tunnel vision literally and cognitively. They focus on the threat and miss everything else. But people with high emotional regulation maintain wider attention even under pressure. They can see the whole chessboard while others are fixated on a single piece. This is why calm people often seem to have better judgment. It's not that they're smarter. It's that they can see options that panic has hidden from everyone else. They notice the exit when everyone's pushing toward the door. They hear the question behind the accusation. They see the fear behind the anger. This isn't a superpower. It's what happens when your nervous system isn't screaming. The ripple effect, but perhaps the most beautiful thing about genuinely calm people is how they change the atmosphere. There's research on emotional contagion, how emotions spread through social networks. Anxiety is contagious, but so is calm. When a genuinely calm person enters a room, something shifts. Not because they're trying to calm everyone down, but because their nervous system signals safety to everyone else's nervous system. We're wired to co-regulate. Mirror neurons fire. Breathing patterns synchronize. Heart rate variability adjusts. One calm person can lower the temperature of an entire space without saying a word. This is the gift they give. Not advice, not solutions. Just the living proof that it's possible to be okay even when nothing is certain. How calmness is actually built. So how do you build this? Not through positive thinking, not through affirmation, not through pretending everything's fine. Real calmness is built through 3 practices. 1. Exposure with support. You can't build stress tolerance by avoiding stress. But you also can't build it by drowning in it. You need graduated exposure, situations that stretch you but don't break you, with enough support to process what you're feeling. This is why therapy works. Why good mentors matter. Why community is essential. You need witnesses to your struggle who won't fix it but won't abandon you either. 2. Somatic awareness. Calmness isn't just mental. It's physical. It lives in your breath, your posture, your muscle tension. Calm people have learned to read their body signals. They notice when their jaw tightens, when their breath gets shallow, when their shoulders creep toward their ears. And they intervene not by suppressing but by releasing. A deep breath, a shoulder roll. A 5-second pause. These micro-adjustments prevent macro meltdowns. 3. Narrative flexibility. This is the most sophisticated one. Calm people don't just have one story about what's happening. They hold multiple interpretations simultaneously. When something goes wrong, they can think, this is terrible and this might lead somewhere interesting, and I've survived worse, and this isn't about me all at the same time. This cognitive flexibility keeps them from getting trapped in any single emotional narrative. They've learned that the story you tell about what's happening is often more powerful than what's actually happening, the ultimate realization. But here's the deepest truth about calmness. It's not about never being disturbed. It's about knowing you'll find your way back. The ocean doesn't stop having waves, but it always returns to level. The calm person has learned to trust that return, to stop fighting the waves and start trusting the water. They've realized that emotional weather is just that weather. It comes, it goes, but the sky remains. And once you know this, really know it, in your bones panic loses its power, because you're no longer afraid of your own emotional experience. You've seen the worst of it and discovered that it's temporary. Intense, yes. Painful, yes. But temporary. That realization is the foundation of unshakable calm. The invitation. So if you're someone who feels everything intensely, who overthinks, who gets swept up in emotional storms, you're not broken. You're just not finished yet. Because the path to real calmness doesn't bypass intensity. It goes straight through it. Every calm person you admire has already walked through the fire you're in. The difference is they learn to stop adding fuel. They learn that you can't control the waves, but you can learn to swim. They learn that peace isn't found when everything's perfect. It's found when you stop requiring perfection. They learn that the deepest strength isn't in never falling. It's in knowing you can stand back up. And here's the beautiful part. You already have everything you need to build this, not because calmness is easy, but because you're already stronger than you think. You've already survived every difficult moment of your life so far. Your track record for getting through hard days is 100%. The calm you're seeking isn't somewhere else. It's not in the future. It's not in different circumstances. It's in the pause you're about to take, in the breath you're about to notice, in the choice you're about to make to respond instead of react. That's where calmness lives, not in the absence of chaos, but in the presence of you, fully aware, fully here, fully trusting that whatever comes, you'll find your way through. Swells, because that's what calm people know that others don't. You don't need to control the storm. You just need to remember you're not made of paper. You're made of the same stuff that survived every storm before this one. And that memory, that deep, cellular knowing, is the only calm you'll ever need.